Steve, thank you for being here.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
So, a former president and major party candidate gets shot in the face. An American citizen gets killed. And to this day, more than a year later, we still have unanswered questions and a lack of accountability. What do you make about that?
Well, I mean, there's Trump, the Superman, says he doesn't like to think about it much, and American spirit triumphs over forces of evil. And we saw that when he went back to the same spot and gave the speech where he started it. Now, where was I? I mean, that was classic Trump. Trump said this last Saturday he's satisfied with the report, but we do have to make sure it never happens again. I mean, so we have to actually two reports to look through. Democrat John Fetterman saying on X, we must condemn political violence in any form and turn down the temperature. Sadly, his party is not listening to that. So we have Rand Paul's HHS report that you quoted from, and we have Senator Chuck Grassley's GAO report. Both are damning. That basically the Secret Service stunning failures, preventable failures. We can't have that and have a president go out and meet the people.
No, we certainly can't. I'm glad you mentioned John Fetterman, actually. Special shout out to him because he did post on X about that. I saw over the weekend condemning what we saw, saying over 1 year ago in Pennsylvania, we saw a stark reminder of the awfulness of political violence. I'm really, really happy he said that. What happened in Butler was tragic. Doesn't matter who it was, President Trump, Joe Biden, it doesn't matter. That act of violence is unacceptable. So I don't agree with him about much, but I do agree with him there. So I'm glad that you brought that up because that is a really, really important message to get out there. And it's nice to hear even Democrats as well as many Republicans coming out and condemning it. So I'm glad you brought that up and I'm glad that he said that.
And this is the era of Doge, where 1,500 State Department people are leaving. And obviously, as you pointed out, nobody has been held responsible. The suspensions are 10 to 42 days, including the Secret Service's Pittsburgh field office head. So if you don't give these people punishment like firings or losing their pensions, why wouldn't it happen again? So if they want to turn down the political violence heat, well, look at what just happened in Los Angeles. Look at what's happening with the ICE agents being attacked.
Sure.
They're not doing exactly that. And we need to see some accountability, which means Chuck Grassley has to not do a report, but actually put some people in the court.
Okay. I want to ask you now about Thomas Matthew Crooks. And this next question, it does call for some speculation, so I want to preface it with that. However, do you personally believe that he acted as a lone wolf, or do you think it's possible that maybe he acted with others?
I think anything's possible. This is the era of the JFK revelations, and obviously the auto pen, and John Brennan and the FBI Comey director, director, being brought criminal charges. So anything is possible. But do I think he could have acted alone? Sure. Do I think he did? It just doesn't seem plausible. I mean, even the snipers that were on the roof were shooting in a different direction than killing him on the roof that he was supposedly there. And why was the FBI there within minutes hosing it all down? That's not what they're supposed to do. That's DNA evidence. So the whole thing, just more questions than answers. That's what I do for a living on my show, is ask questions. And unfortunately, instead of answering the questions, we have 1,000 spawns of more questions on that day. And this report, both reports, don't really clarify that. It'll remain a mystery because they don't want to tell us. If they wanted to tell us, they'd tell us. They don't want to tell us.
That's a really good point. It's sad to think about that, but I think you're right about that, Steve. But that does bring me to another question. I was reading through this report. If people want to find it, it's online. It's 31 pages long, so pretty easy to get through. There's one part of it, though, that really stuck out to me, so I want to ask you about it. It said that prior to July 13th of 2024, there was no formal process for requesting and or denying access to more security resources at a rally like the one we saw in Butler, Pennsylvania. How could it be possible that the nation's top protective agency doesn't have a standard operating procedure for asking for more security resources at an extremely high-profile event that features a former president and major party candidate? How could that possibly be, Steve?
It's not possible. This is the premier law enforcement agency. They are elite. Secret Service, in the Chuck Grassley report, the GAO report again, received threat intel 10 days before Butler rally, and it exposed major gaps in internal policies and procedures, contributed to massive security breakdown. That doesn't happen on accident. They must have had plenty of meetings, plenty of observations, plenty of mapping, all the things that go along with it. Why wasn't there a drone in the air? Why didn't they have the local PD involved? It just makes no sense. And so again, back to Trump's bravery to go back and stand at the exact same spot, no PTSD, and deliver that speech with
Yes.
his Trumpian fare just shows that he is blessed by God to have missed that bullet by millimeters, and we're lucky to have him. And maybe we're yet to see what the good Lord has in store for him in our country to be in office, but they certainly could have made the whole thing avoidable. And like you said, he was walking around for 4 hours, observed by everybody. They were yelling and screaming, someone's on the roof, someone's on the roof, because they were there because they love Trump. They don't
Yes.
want to see anything bad happen to him. But Secret Service decided to look the other way. That is going to always be a mystery as to how could they possibly have let it happen. And for one person to have been fired, that's okay. But I think there's actually more to that. They need to do a roll up from the bottom guy up to the security guard at parking all the way up to the top to figure out, was this actually intended?
For all our viewers asking where One America News is heading in the future, we would like to introduce you to OAN Live. OAN Live is the best way to stay up to date on all of the hard-hitting, straight-shooting, national and international headlines. And the best part is, OAN Live is only $4.99 per month. All the credible, honest, unbiased reporting One America News offers at a fraction of the cost of cable. Just go to OANN.com to easily sign up for OAN Live and stay informed.